Welcome back, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 11th science biology and we are going to see the next chapter, that is chapter 19, that is excretory products and their elimination. First, we are going to see the basic introduction related to this chapter and then we will see the main topics. Okay, so let's start with today's lecture. So, elimination of metabolic waste products from the animal body to regulate the composition of body fluids and tissue is called excretion. So when the elimination, that is when the removal of the metabolic waste products occurs from your body or any of the animal's body for regulating the composition of the body fluids, that is the body fluids and the tissues should be maintained, right? So you are in the body is eliminating out the waste products, right? And that process through which the elimination or the removal of those waste products takes place, that is known as excretion. These waste products include ammonia, uric acid, urea, carbon dioxide, and several ions like sodium, chlorine, potassium, and phosphates as well as sulfates. So these are several waste products, right, which are present in your body and they are needed to be excreted out, right? Now, ammonia is the most toxic and uric acid is the least toxic, right? So when you are talking about ammonia, ammonia is said to be the most toxic waste product and the uric acid is the least toxic waste product, right? Now the process of removing ammonia is called ammonotalism, right? So this can be asked in MCQ or short question, right? That what is ammonotalism and what are ammonotelic organisms, right? So the process through which the ammonia is released out or removed out, that is known as ammonotalism, and the organisms which excrete the ammonia, right, from their body, those animals or those organisms are known as ammonotelic organisms. The examples of ammonotelic organisms are bony fishes, right? That is the fishes which do contain the bones, as well as several aquatic amphibians and the insects. So these are the organisms who are said to be the ammonotelic because they excrete out the ammonia as a waste product. Next is the organisms that release or that excrete out the nitrogenous waste, right, in the form of urea, right? That is known as ureotelic. So when the organism excretes out the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea, then those animals are known as ureotelic, right? And the example of it is mammals as well as the terrestrial amphibians, right? So we are ureotelic because we release out the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea, and the organisms which are excreting out the waste products in the form of uric acid, those organisms are known as uricotelic organisms, right? And the example of it is the reptiles, birds, as well as land snails, right? So those all organisms are excreting out the uric acid, right? And for this reason they are said to be uricotelic organism, right? Now this is the table which is showing that these are the animals and there are several different excretory organs, right? So flatworms as well as some annelids as well as cephalochordates, right? These animals, they do possess protonephridia as well as or sometimes the flame cells as the excretory organs, and these excretory organs, they are going to perform the process of excretion. Same way the second one says that is about the earthworms and the annelids, right? So earthworm and annelids do possess nephridia as the excretory organ and they are responsible for eliminating out the nitrogenous waste. Third is insects, which is including the cockroaches, right? They do possess Malpighian tubules as excretory organ. And the insects as well as cockroaches, again, as they are uricotelic, or right, that is they are excreting out uric acid, right, with the help of the Malpighian tubules. And the last, that is mammals, they do possess kidney as their excretory organ, and they are going to remove the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea, right? So this is about the several animals which are having different types of the excretory organs, right? Now we are going to start with the human excretory system. So the human excretory system consists of four main things, right? First is pair of kidneys, right? So kidneys are said to be the like structural and functional unit of the excretory system, because without kidneys the excretion is not possible. So kidneys are said to be the excretory organs of human body. Second important organs are pair of ureters, right? That is those pipes or those ducts which are responsible for passing the urine to the urinary bladder from the kidney. So it is taking, or it is bringing the uh, formed urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. The third organ is urinary bladder, which is a small bag-like structure which is going to store the urine. And the last, that is urethra, that is responsible for releasing out of the urine, right? So these are the main excretory organs which are involved in the human excretory system. So that is pair of kidneys, pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and a urethra. So this is the figure of human excretory system, where you can see is this two bean shaped structures, they are known as kidneys, right? And they are present in pair, right? Now the blue colored vein, that is the inferior vena cava, right? And the red one is the renal artery, right? So here what happens is in the kidney, right, there is presence of three main type of structures, right? First is, as you can see, the major part of the kidney is known as cortex region, right? Then you can see this triangular shape like structures, those that particular part is said to be medulla region. And here when the all the where I'm showing the cursor, where all the triangles open into a common passage, and that is known as pelvis. So the kidney is made up of three main regions: pelvis, medulla, and cortex, right? And as you can see, these two pipes which are coming out from the kidneys and opening into a bag-like structure which is known as urinary bladder, and these pipes are known as ureters, right? And at the last of the urinary bladder there is presence of a small opening which is known as urethra, right? And on the top of the kidneys there is presence of adrenal gland, and this adrenal gland also helps in several body functions of your body, right? And this is dorsal aorta, right? That is the main renal artery, and the blue colored one is the renal vein, right? So this is about if this figure is asked, then you have to draw this figure and you have to mention all the main important organs as well as the main important parts of the like the excretory system of the humans, right? Now, kidneys are reddish brown bean shaped structure which is situated between last thoracic and lumbar vertebra, right? So, kidneys are reddish brown in color, right? So, the color of kidney is reddish brown and the shape is bean shaped structure, right? And it is situated between the last thoracic and the lumbar vertebra. So the vertebral column which is present on the back, right? So in the thoracic region and on the lumbar region, it is these kidneys are present in between this last thoracic and the lumbar vertebra, right? Each kidney has a notch on its inner side which is called hilum, through which ureter, blood vessels and nerves enter, right? So this is, you can see, this is the detailed structure or detailed figure of kidney, right? Now you can see over here is there is a notch on its inner side which is called hilum. So the region that is present over here, right, that is known as hilum, right? And through which the ureter, that is, you can see this pipe, that is ureter, as well as this blood vessels and the nerves which enter inside, right? So this region where I'm showing the cursor right now, that is the hilum region, right? Now Inside the hilum has broad funnel shaped space which is called renal pelvis with projection called calcis, right? So you can see this is after this hilum there is presence of a funnel shaped space, and that is known as renal pelvis, and it is having a projection, and that is known as calcis, right? So you can see over here this is said to be calcis, right? Now inside the kidney there are two zones, outer cortex and inner medulla. So you can see over here this outer region, the where I'm showing the cursor, right? That is this outer region that is known as cortex region, and the inner region, that is this one, that is known as the medullary pyramid, or we can say the medulla region, right? Now medulla is divided into medullary pyramids which is projecting into calyx, right? So this medulla is been like divided into the medullary pyramids, right? So you can see this is the medulla region, right? All the pyramids are made up of the medulla region, right? Next is medulla is divided into medullary pyramids projecting into calyx, and the cortex extends between medullary pyramids as renal column and a cord which is known as columns of Bertillon. So as you can see over here, see this, that between the two pyramids there is also presence of the cortex region, right? So you can see over here where I am showing the cursor here, then here, right? So this all spaces, or we can say it is not exactly a space, but there is presence of the cortex region. So for this reason, the region or the cortex region which is present in between the two pyramid, or we can say the medullary pyramid, that is known as renal column, and it is known as the column of Bertini, right? Next is the functional unit of kidney is nephron. Right now we can see that the main part of the kidney is nephron. Now each kidney contains about 1 million nephrons. So there is presence of so many nephrons in your one kidney, right? So in each kidney there is presence of 1 million of nephrons, and each nephron has two parts, right? The first is glomerulus and the second is renal tubules, right? Now the main two parts of the nephron is first glomerulus and second is renal tubules, from which the glomerulus is the tuft of capillaries which is formed by afferent arteriole, right? So glomerulus, you can see the figure over here. This is the figure of nephron, right? So this, the first region, that is this, that is the glomerulus. So this glomerulus, it is containing for the afferent arteriole, right? So the, it is the tuft, that it is a bunch of the capillaries, and which is going to be formed with by the help of the afferent arteriole. So all the whatever network like structure which is formed inside the glomerulus, that is due to the afferent arteriole, right? Now blood from glomerulus is carried away by efferent arteriole. So you can see one is entering inside and one is coming out, right? So the one which is entering into the glomerulus, that is afferent arteriole, and the blood which is being carried out outside the glomerulus, that is the efferent arteriole. So the one which is bringing the blood to the nephron, or we can say the glomerulus, that is afferent, and the one which is bringing or carrying away the blood from the glomerulus, that is efferent arteriole. Next is the renal tubules starts with the Bowman's capsule. So this your cup shaped structure is known as Bowman's capsule, and after the Bowman's capsule, there is presence of several tubular parts. As you can see over here, the yellow colored tube, right? So there is presence of tubular parts, which is divided into proximal convoluted tubule, then distal convoluted tubule, and along with that, there is presence of a loop-like structure, which is known as the loop of Henle. So this is the different parts of the nephron, right? Now the Malpighian tubules, that is PCT and DCT of nephron, are situated in cortical region, whereas loops of Henle into the medulla. So the Malpighian tubules, PCT and DCT, these are the things which are present uh, in the cortical region, and the loop of Henle is present into the medulla region. So up till this many region where I'm showing cursor, that much region is, the upper portion is present in the cortex region, and the loop of Henle is located inside the medulla region, right? Now there is presence of two types of nephrons. The first is juxtamedullary nephrons, and the second type of nephrons are cortical nephrons. So let's see the what is the main difference between both of them. So juxtamedullary nephrons, this going to have loop of Henle is very short and extend only a little into medulla. So normally the juxtamedullary nephrons, they are their loop of Henle is very short and it is not extending more in the medulla region. But while we are talking about the cortical nephrons, the loop of Henle is very long and it extends deep into the medulla. So the juxtamedullary nephrons loop of Henle is not extending much into the medulla region, right? So it is very short. But while cortical nephrons does possess the loop of Henle in a very long shape, right? And it is extending much deeper in the medullary region. Second difference is that the juxtamedullary nephrons have the glomeruli, which is lying close to the inner margin of the cortex. So glomeruli, that is glomerulus, is very close to the cortex region. And here, that is, this is going to be present close to the inner cortex, right? While cortical nephrons are going to be present nearby to the outer cortex, right? So juxtamedullary nephrons are nearby to the inner cortex and cortical nephrons are lying in the outer cortex. So this is the main difference between the juxtamedullary nephrons and the cortical nephrons, right? So up till here, I hope you are very clear with today's topic. In the next class, we are going to see the exact mechanism of the urine formation. So I hope to see you again. Thank you.